A Florida middle school student has been arrested, his picture and name made public after allegedly making threats of shooting up 2 schools. 11-year-old Carlo Dorelli.
Your kid's photo is going to be put out there. And if I could do it, I'm going to perp walk your kid so that everybody can see what your kid's up to. You know, this is absolutely out of control, and it ends now. Since parents, you don't want to raise your kids, I'm going to start raising them. You think it's a joke? You're going to find your in handcuffs?
Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood not holding back Friday, warning parents and students alike about making threats against schools.
For the little bastards out there to think this is funny, ha ha ha, I'm going to get on social media, you ain't that smart. Let me tell you, you ain't that smart.
This based Florida sheriff is fed up with school shootings and just showed the nation how you should handle threats at any school at any age.
Carlo Dorelli was taken into custody yesterday in Port Orange, Florida. Authorities say they received a tip from other students that Dorelli was showing off a collection of weapons and his list of targets. Responding to the threat, sheriff's deputies searches.
Those look like toy guns.
Home and found airsoft rifles, swords, knives, and throwing stars. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood says he's fed up with.
Yo, they posted a mugshot of an 11-year-old. Damn, that is cold. Typically in news media and police reports, minors are not shown, their faces are not shown because they're underage. Like we've seen with the student involved in the Georgia high school shooting. To do a mugshot of this student and to do the perp walk with him, chef's kiss.
And he planned to make an example of kids who break the law.
Since parents, you don't want to raise your kids, I'm going to start raising them. Every time we make an arrest, your kid's photo is going to be put out there. And if I could do it, I'm going to perp walk your kid so that everybody can see what your kid's up to.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood, this guy is an American hero.
The boy is facing charges of making a written threat of a mass shooting. It's a felony.
Damn.
The child told police it was a joke, and he never meant to hurt anyone.
School threats on the rise across the state. Now, one Florida sheriff is making a stern warning to kids and their parents. In Broward County, 9 students have been arrested for making violent threats to schools since August. Local 10's Cody Weddle is live in Fort Lauderdale at the Broward School Board building with more on how authorities are stepping up to take action. Cody.
And Nicole, this Florida sheriff today, very candid and direct to say the least about this ongoing problem. And this is a problem we're seeing here in South Florida as well.
Chitwood says his office has received 207 tips about threats to schools already this school year. In South Florida, a similar problem. On Wednesday, Sheriff Gregory Toney and Superintendent Dr. Howard Hepburn announced the arrest of 9 students for posting online threats.
If you did an assessment on every time one of these pranks happen, we're probably burning up about $50,000, $60,000 just for that operation. That's serious, folks.
Those ultimately fake threats mentioned 6 locations, including the Broward County School Board offices.
It can change their trajectory for the rest of their life, oftentimes ending up in arrest and also expulsion from our schools.
Florida strengthened its penalties for making threats in 2018, making it easier to charge those making the posts with felonies.
Go talk to the families who have lost a loved one in a school shooting. These little knuckleheads think it's funny. Go talk to those parents. Every time we make an arrest, your kid's photo is going to be put out there.
All of those arrests in Broward County were students between the ages of 11 and 14 years old, and all of them posted online or in text messages, and all of those kids now facing possible jail time.
This 4-page manifesto given to me by Martin County deputies was written by a Martin County student within the past 5 weeks of school, and much of what this contains is far too graphic and gruesome to share with you. It's part of a surge in school threats across our area. 7 school threats in 48 hours. An 11-year-old arrested Wednesday for threatening to shoot up a St. Lucie middle school.
I mean, 11 years old, that's...
Then Thursday, Indian River deputies arresting a student for making social media threats against Vero Beach High School.
The child was ultimately charged with a felony.
And Friday, at least 5 threats in these 5 schools, 4 in Palm Beach County and 1 in St. Lucie. All were deemed uncredible.
Don't be emotional, get them out, get them home, get them safe.
Joe Rosen, whose 2 daughters attend Palm Point K-8 in Port St. Lucie, pulled his girls out the minute he heard rumors of a threat.
But when you do see the threat as a parent, you have to react.
Is it frustrating?
I think that's just become the norm.
I would say that we're right at a crisis stage.
Martin County Sheriff William Snyder telling me in the past 5 weeks, deputies investigated 24 threats, on track to see 2.5 times the amount of threats they saw last year.
It's been tough this year. We've been chasing down a lot.
Martin County Schools Chief of Safety and Security, Frank Frangella, says many of the threats coming in turn out not to be credible, but they can't take any chances.
We have to look at all of them. We have to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can.
Does that put a strain on your resources?
Oh, absolutely. They do not understand the consequences.
So what are the consequences? From Frangella's end, his threat assessment team investigates and either suspends the student or expels them.
What we're looking to do is get that child.
Suspension or expulsion? No. We need to talk to Chitwood. He'll get them where they belong. Those little bastards belong in jail.
Help that they need.
Well, the sheriff's office conducts their own investigation.
If you cross the line and you violate the law, we are going to charge you. We will not negotiate this. You're going to get arrested. Don't play around with making threats.
On the Treasure Coast, Kate Huss.
Even if these students claimed that it was a joke, what a sick and stupid joke to make. Are you kidding me? Good on this Florida sheriff for having a stronger stance against these potential threats. It is so tragic to see the current climate of America, the almost acceptance that a school shooting is going to happen every couple of months. Let me tell you the story of when I brought a knife to school in 7th grade and I never did it again. So there was an older widowed man who lived in my neighborhood. He was sort of a grandpa figure to me. His name was Ray, God rest his soul. I would mow his lawn and every month he would give me a pocket knife. So one morning as I was walking to my school bus stop, I saw in his front lawn a butterfly knife that he had left there. I think he was trying to dig up a root or a weed or something. So, idiot that I am, I picked it up and I put it in my pocket and took it with me to school. I had no ill intent. I had no malice behind bringing it to school. I was just like, oh, hey, Ray dropped one of his knives. I better take care of it for him. I was too scared to put it into my locker, so I kept it on me throughout the entire day, including putting it into my gym shorts for gym class. And of course, when I was going to do sit-ups, it fell out of my pocket and the coach noticed. So I was called down to the office of the school resource officer, and he asked me, what's in your pocket? And I took it out for him. He then handed me a card and he had me read my Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent if you don't have an attorney, blah, 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 blah. As soon as I started to read that, I started to cry like a little girl. I had watched Cops on television. I knew that I was about to go to jail. My life was over. Now, there's a lot of debate about scared straight programs and these kinds of things, but I for sure was scared straight at that point. I got suspended for 2 weeks and I learned my lesson. Don't bring a weapon to school. In my opinion, parents are softer than they ever were before. Social media is so prevalent. Now there's a new type of bullying called cyberbullying. It seems like school shootings are only increasing year after year. Although this stronger stance of doing a mugshot and a perp walk and the scare tactics is really sensational, I think it could be really effective, just from my own experience. But leave a comment down below. What do you think about an 11-year-old mugshot on local news? Too far or not far enough? Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm CV, and I'll see you next time on Conservative Vibes.